Well, what is Iran's biggest weapon? Is it nuclear armament, missile launchers, or drone strikes? Well, it is the Strait of Hormuz. That has been weaponized again by Iran to such an extent that all of the countries in the world are feeling the pinch. And now what President Trump says. He says, effectively distancing himself and the United States, it's a hands-free approach that President Trump seems to be applying over the responsibility of securing the Strait of Hormuz. There have been multiple and contradictory statements that has been made by the president himself in the past. And now what does he say? It is not our job. It is not our responsibility. The countries who have been affected by it, they are the ones who actually should take the responsibility and the lead when it comes to either forcing open the Strait of Hormuz or having talks and dialogue with Iran. It depends completely on them, because when President Trump urged the allies of the United States to come forward with their ships, he received a snub and a rejection from those countries. And now he says, well, it is up to you, not my business. In a clear shift, he says that the countries dependent on the route must now take the lead in securing it. Calling for global action, President Trump has made it clear that the burden of protecting the Strait of Hormuz is not America's job.
Because of the Trump administration's policies, we produce more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. Think of that, Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. And that number will soon be substantially higher than that. There's no country like us anywhere in the world, and we're in great shape for the future. The United States imports almost no oil through the Hormuz Strait and won't be taking any in the future. We don't need it. We haven't needed it, and we don't need it. We've beaten and completely decimated Iran. They are decimated, both militarily and economically and in every other way. And the countries of the world that do receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage. They must cherish it. They must grab it and cherish it. They can do it easily. We will be helpful, but they should take the lead in protecting the oil that they so desperately depend on.
Well, let's quickly introduce our guest joining us here on the panel, Abhijit Iyer-Mitra, Senior Fellow, IPCS. Abhijit, good to have you with us. Peter Kuznick was the author and professor of history and director of the Nuclear Studies Institute at the American University. Thank you, Peter. We also have Major General Rajan Kochar, who continues to be with us in the studios here. Abhijit, key takeaways. What do you believe that what President Trump has said and rather avoided saying this time? Because every single day there is a new statement coming in from the President of the United States of America.
Well, Amrita, you know, the thing is, he said everything he needed to on Truth, maybe on Truth Social, maybe a bit more than he needed to, which is why what his speech today essentially sounded like some kind of a fusion of all his Truth Social truths over the last few days. There was nothing new out here. There was disappointment, I guess, with the allies, with NATO allies not joining in. But again, see, that excludes the possibility that they haven't been attacked. They can only invoke Article 5 when they are attacked. It cannot be invoked offensively or preemptively against somebody else. At least there's been no precedent for it, number one. Number two, the one thing that was very clearly left out this time was the reference to regime change. If you remember on his speech on the 28th of February, let me actually quote that speech, the operative parts of that speech which come in the last few paragraphs. I'm quoting from the White House thing. Finally, to the great proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered, don't leave your homes. It is very dangerous. Bombs will be dropping. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This is probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I'm willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let us see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny. Now, after 1 month, if they have not seized control of their destiny, as Trump puts it, and he hasn't even brought it up in his speech. Regime change was completely absent in this speech, that it wasn't in the previous speech. I think that is one very significant
he says it wasn't our goal.
Yeah, he now says it wasn't our goal, but I just read out his speech from, I'm not reading out, CNN, which you could say is, he would say is fake news. He loves calling CNN fake news. I'm reading this out from the White House website. And he very clearly, I just read out the operative part. So what to regime change? Now, can I just say this?
Yes.
If you want to get rid of nuclear weapons, you have to do regime change. Remember, Germany and Japan rebuilt in no time at all because their human capital remained intact. The bomb is up here. Even if the infrastructure is destroyed, you can rebuild it because the knowledge to build it lies up here. So unless you get rid of the human capital, which you really can't do without regime change, I think the primary war objective, be it of regime change or of denuclearization, has fundamentally failed.
Well, we will need to point out, because thank you for your attention on this matter, but what all has now been left out by President Trump is something that is significant as far as changes that are also concerned in his previous statements. But President Trump is known for that, unpredictability and also contradictory statements. However, this time he did not make any mention of the possibility of a dialogue with Iranian leadership. Who is he exactly engaging with? That seems to have also not been mentioned during his address to the nation, as far as to the American citizens as well. But why was Operation Epic Fury necessary? President Trump seems to be highlighting that in detail. In the meantime, not just him, but his administration is concerned. Let's put out that breaking update, because they have been following the cue of President Trump, already having declared victory over Iran. And here is Team Trump that has been defending their Iran strategy. So let's take a look as far as the core group of President Trump and his administration is concerned. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio comes out to say, after President Trump's address, says that President Trump has delivered a powerful speech tonight. He was clear about the objectives in Iran. He's highlighted those objectives: destroying their weapon factories, destroying their navy, destroying their air force, destroying their chances of having a nuclear weapon. Though this is something that the US had said previously during Operation Midnight Hammer, that they had obliterated the nuclear facilities of Iran when the attack happened in June last year. The president's leadership sends a message to the world that the United States will defend its people and its interests and uphold the peace through strength. But clearly, when it comes to the objective, was Iran a direct threat to the United States of America? Well, that remains to be seen when it comes to another Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. He seems to be now also emphasizing what President Trump has said. As far as in his strongest warnings yet, saying that Iran could be hit extremely hard and even pushed back to the Stone Age. And if a deal is not reached according to the terms and conditions that has been set by the United States of America, that seems to have been reiterated by Pete Hegseth, back to the Stone Age. But is he aware that it is the same president who seems to be shifting the blame or the goalpost either on J.D. Vance, or will Pete Hegseth come in the line of the war there as far as when it comes to taking responsibility of this massive Operation Epic Fury that United States has launched? But is there an exit plan? Is there a clear plan to withdraw? What happens in the coming 2 to 3 weeks? That remains to be seen.
To hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. In the meantime, discussions are ongoing. Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred because of all of their original leaders' death.
Well, Peter, what happens in the next 2 to 3 weeks?
Well, I think that Trump is right about one thing. He has achieved regime change, not in Tehran, but in Washington. The Trump regime is finished. His approval rating is down the lowest of any president at this point of his presidency, 33%. This war is so unpopular. The American people have seen themselves get lied into war after war after war. But there's never been a war like this before. When George W. Bush took the U.S. into the war in Iraq, he spent more than a year trying to sell that war to the American people with lies, with lies, but at least he made the effort. Trump hasn't even made the effort. Trump, gets told by Netanyahu and Rupert Murdoch Babcock and Hegseth and Miller that after Venezuela, you can do anything to anybody. Witkoff, the negotiator, the real estate negotiator, had said that they expected when the U.S. put the troops in the area that Iran would just capitulate. He was shocked that Iran didn't. Well, not only is Iran not capitulating, Iran has the upper hand. Now, I don't think there are any winners in this. I think everybody is a loser in this all over the planet, except maybe for the Israelis. The Israelis were trying to get the United States into a war with Iran for more than 3 decades. But Netanyahu could never find an American president stupid enough and ignorant enough to do it.
So who will take the blame, Peter? Who will take the blame for this?
Who will take the blame? Well, Trump will try to deflect. They're already accusing the Israelis of not giving honest intelligence about Iranian resistance. But Trump was being warned that the Iranians would hit the Gulf of Hormuz. Trump was being warned that the Iranians would hit U.S. allies and assets in the area. You know how they do a president's daily briefing now? They start with 2 minutes of video clips of things blowing up in Iran. That's what they have to do to get Trump's attention. I mean, the man is emotionally unstable, cognitively impaired, and getting worse by the day. Why did he give this speech tonight if he had nothing to say? Because he wants the attention. He's a pathological narcissist.
Did he manage to do that? Because there was a lot of anticipation that probably the war is going to end, there is going to be a ceasefire, and exactly the opposite happened, unfortunately. Kocher, sir,
The stock market went down, the oil prices went up.
Yes. Oh, yes, there has been an immediate impact because, as I said, markets respond to sentiment and statements, and largely what President Trump has been saying, Kocher, sir, the impact is already now being seen.
Yeah, the markets have opened, I think, on a negative trend, and it's all the world over the markets are being impacted today. So these statements of Trump, I think, are more for the market, because every time he makes a statement in the morning, he changes in the evening after the markets,
well, for him, it's a small price to pay for peace.
Yeah, it's a small price to pay for peace. But see, I was analyzing Marco Rubio's tweet, which you showed on the screen. 4 aspects were you mentioned there, and I would actually give it only a 50% mark, because I agree with the naval assets being destroyed, the Air Force being destroyed, but I don't agree with the manufacturing capability of Iran has been impaired to a great extent, maybe 10 to 15%. You're not beyond that. And the second aspect is, as far as we can see about the nuclear capability, we have discussed in the morning, since morning. I don't think Trump has been able to reach there, because uranium is still intact. So, what has he gained from this war? And if you see the statement on the first day of the war.
Nobel Peace Prize, what has he gained from this war? I mean, because this is something that he's been eyeing for that, because he believes that in the destruction of Iran, the world will be safer and in a peaceful manner, because was he planning to pull off a Venezuela and Iran? Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to have happened on ground. Because we want to put our focus exactly when it comes to this warning that has now come in from President Trump. Not a new one, something that he has repeated. And now he says that when it comes to Iran, he has been sparing the oil infrastructure till now, as far as in Kharg Island and critical energy infrastructure is concerned. But he could well reconsider and revise his decision, making it clear that while oil spikes has not been hit, they have been spared. He remains firm on, as far as on the radar of attack is concerned, saying that if Iran does not agree to the terms that has been said by the United States of America, then Iran will be bombed, and to such an extent that it will be sent back to the Stone Age.
If there is no deal, we are going to hit each and every one of their electric generating plants very hard and probably simultaneously. We have not hit their oil, even though that's the easiest target of all, because it would not give them even a small chance of survival or rebuilding. But we could hit it, and it would be gone, and there's not a thing they could do about it. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Their radar is 100% annihilated. We are unstoppable as a military force. The nuclear sites that we obliterated with the B-2 bombers have been hit so hard that it would take months to get near the nuclear dust, and we have it under intense satellite surveillance and control. If we see them make a move, even a move for it, we'll hit them with missiles very hard again. We have all the cards, they have none. It's very important.
All right, now what we are looking at, it's 9:16 a.m. India time, and it's the pre-open that we are looking at the markets already after President Trump delivered his address, the epic address. Well, all markets have now turned volatile. Prices first plunging near the $100 per barrel mark and then rebounding sharply as traders have now reacted to President Donald Trump's address to the nation. Sentiments have now remained cautious as the speech failed each investor when it comes to easing the markets and also the recovery and the gains that has been made recently. Hina, good morning. That goes to a waste. The markets have been reacting negatively.
Well, absolutely. You know, markets had a lot of expectations from U.S. President Donald Trump and his speech this morning. And yesterday, ahead of the speech, even the Brent crude prices fell below $100 per barrel mark because a day prior, Pete Hegseth, the U.S. Secretary of War, had indicated that next 2-3 days are going to be decisive. And then, the kind of statements Trump had made, the indication was that maybe we're moving towards de-escalation. A big announcement is going to be made by Donald Trump, but that didn't really happen. In his entire speech, he pretty much repeated the same rhetoric that he has been talking about since day one, since the war began. And the way he also again repeated that, 2-3 weeks are going to be again very important when Iran is going to be obliterated, and how he shifted his stance from, earlier saying making Iran great again, the, initial point that he had made when he entered into this war against Iran, to now saying that, the idea is to completely obliterate Iran. And now the U.S. will not even shy away from hitting the energy infrastructure in Iran. And his commentary on Strait of Hormuz. So all of that has really made investors quite nervous. So Asian markets fell sharply soon after this particular speech. And right now, Amita, as our markets have opened, there is a sea of red here. Sensex is down about 1,300. It was in the beginning down about 1,500 points. Right now, it's down about 1,364 points. It's seeing a cut of about 2%, almost 2%. And similar is the story with regard to Nifty as well. So markets nervous and panicking for Trump's speech.
Absolutely. We are just focusing on that and tracking when it comes to the numbers, because as soon as the Asian markets opened up, across there, it's a sea of red that is now being witnessed, and the same kind of volatility Sensex and Nifty has also been showing as the Brent crude prices as well, Hina, has also surged significantly. So that is what we are looking at as we focus on the markets today, as in opens today, because the globe across has now witnessed a sudden reversal after the U.S. president's address.
That's right, Amita. Like I said, the Brent crude prices had fallen below $100 per barrel mark. They were around $99 odd per barrel. But after Trump's speech got over, Brent again went up to $106 per barrel. Now, for rising crude is a bad news for oil importing countries. As a result, Asian markets negatively reacted to what Trump had said. For example, if you look at Kospi right now, it's down about 3.70%. If you look at Nikkei at this point in time, it is also similar. Nikkei, in fact, is down about 2.12%. And if you look at Indian stock markets, Sensex is down close to 2%. It's seeing a cut of it's now exactly down 2% with a cut of about 1,466 points.
Right.
It's fallen below that crucial mark of 72,000 also. Sensex is currently trading at 71,000.
So let me get an opinion from a market expert. Mr. Sharad Kohli is connected with us. Sir, good morning. What President Trump said, immediate reaction is being witnessed in the markets, sir.
Good morning, Amita, to you and Times Now viewers. Indeed, I think the speech was being much anticipated. People were expecting some kind of ceasefire or a withdrawal, but that has not happened. The market is obviously again into the territory of uncertainty, which it doesn't like. So this down. Dow futures in America are down. The other Asian markets are down. Gold, silver is again down because of the dollar index climbing, crude oil prices climbing. I think the fear of inflation and recession, Those are the two main things that the markets are worried about at this point of time. I hope both don't happen, but it seems to be a reality now. Inflation already is kicking in. American gas prices have gone up by 25%, which I think President Trump has not taken cognizance of. And we are witnessing, contrary to it, from Kamala Harris in the opposition, which has now vindicated the stand that, yes, Americans are suffering from inflation, which is what is impacting the markets.
But that is an admission that President Trump will never give, isn't it, Mr. Kohli? Because he is of the opinion that when oil prices and are affected and they go up, America is the one that benefits the most out of it. But let's talk about let's talk about the Sensex as well, Mr. Kohli. 1,500 points down. We're looking at Nifty, which is also down by 2%.
Absolutely. We saw the commercial cylinder prices going up. I think it's a fear of inflation and crude oil, which is worrying the market at this point of time. You see the air turbine fuel prices are going up gradually, premium petrol going up, and commercial cylinder going up. So what the attempt of oil marketing companies right now is to just to keep the common man away. But I think it's a matter of time, because if crude oil prices continue to climb, then it'll only be a matter of time before the price is pushed to the common consumer also for petrol, diesel, and which means inflation is going to climb up. I think the markets are getting worried because it's a huge uncertainty which they are staring at. We don't know where this war is going as of now. We'll have to wait for the weekend. Normally, big things happen on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. I think the picture will be slightly clearer.
Well, it was a Saturday, when 28th of February, I exactly remember, because I was the one who had announced that US and Israel jointly have launched their strikes on Iran, and we are in day 34 now today, and this seems to be how the world has changed dramatically and drastically over the last 34 days. Thank you very much, Mr. Kohli, for your point of view. Well, a sea of red, a virtual bloodbath that has now been witnessed. The stock markets have opened in the red, in the negative. We're going to be focusing on that because the impact is also going to be a big one, as not just India, but the world has been also in a way impacted by what President Trump has said today. Abhijit, Peter and Kotra sir continues to be with us. We're going to head at a very short break. This is a continuous coverage you're watching right here on Times Now.